everyone for writing down questions for that. So also to before we move on to team building, if we could quickly debrief the snowball share. Does anyone have any thoughts on how that activity works or how it could be improved?
If everybody already has a snowball, like they do a snowball fight, and then in the end you pick out the snowball. You have one snowball in your hand.
Mm-hmm. So like
everybody already has their share ready.
And then you like already have it at your seat?
Well, or in a circle or wherever you are. Yes.
Okay. Great.
And then you can.
Sorry, go ahead.
You can share at your table if you're in a smaller group, like people of four, or the whole class, however.
Yes, I think you should really be intentional, especially with 24 middle schoolers.
Right.
Be intentional about when you're sitting, when you're standing, where you're throwing, etc.
Because reading takes forever just to call.
Yeah. To get everybody's name out.
Right. I like that, the idea, because I have a small group. We have 12. Awesome. And the thing is like the connection to what we're going to do that day. So I could have like a situation up here. What would be a positive way to resolve this situation, or what could this person do next?
I see.
That would not escalate the conflict, and then they can actually throw it in there. So everybody would be participating.
Yes. Anything that really helps to encourage all students to participate and feel like they're answering the question is great. So if you were leading this activity with 7th graders and you thought maybe not everybody's going to share, what kind of question would you encourage them to write on the paper? So you would really lead them with examples. What kinds of things do 7th graders share about easily, and how could you make that activity really easy and fun for them?
What are you going to do this weekend?
What do you do this weekend? What did you have for breakfast? Right? Like questions like that. Songs you like.
Dance.
And this week it's like, are you going out for Halloween? Are you going to dress up? What's your favorite candy?
So, and that's fine. That's a fine way to start with your sharing, because again, it's like a no risk type of share, and they're going to easily answer that question, most of them. So it's easily adaptable for kids, and it's just the questions were a little more complicated because we're adults, I think. Okay. So kind of segueing into team building a little bit, which is our next topic. Talking a little bit about why it's important to build teams in our advisories. So the first thing is that, of course, it helps to build relationships. Students are very social beings, especially we know middle schoolers, right? But they're also really can be very socially negative beings. So there's a lot of not understanding how their hormones work, not understanding how their bodies work, not understanding how to respond appropriately to problems with their peers. So this is very important for them to know how to identify strengths, weaknesses, and use them to achieve a task in the middle school level. So we want to put those social skills to work in a positive way through team building. It also helps them practice social and emotional skills. So they're challenged in a safe environment as opposed to being challenged or at risk at home or on the street where it's unsafe. The more they might start to fix some of that stress that they've been dealing with for so long. So we talked a lot about how as middle schoolers their fight or flight reactions aren't necessarily as developed in the way that they should be. So again, if there's no risk and they're safe in school and there's a high level of structure for them to practice those social and emotional skills, that starts to correct that gap and make them better prepared and suited to do better on their math tests, to complete their essay, to participate in the mock election or the mock debate that you guys might be having at your school. It enhances classroom productivity and cooperation. So if they're learning how to work in teams in Jean's advisory, hypothetically, you guys all work at the same school in my mind. If they are working in Jean's advisory and they're learning how to build teams, and then they go to Nick's math class and he wants them to solve equations or problems, they already have those skills. He's already set up for success, or should be if you guys are all working on a team as adults, which is great. Fosters creativity, so it helps them think about there are multiple ways to solve problems. It helps to think about if I don't right away have a solution, I'm going to persevere at solving that solution. So again, going back to the things that we want kids to be able to do in STEM careers, in math classrooms. They want to come up with as many creative solutions as possible with that. And then, of course, team building activities are fun. It lets kids get up, it lets them move, it lets them learn about each other and themselves in a different way, and it lets them think about school as a fun and safe environment, which is what we want. We don't want them to feel threatened or unsafe or unproductive at school. Anything else here?
No, I just would be curious from your all's perspective on those things. What are some things maybe in your mind that you have thought about around team building? Because this was an important thing to the group when you did your survey results. What maybe some other things that, from your perspective that you would add to this about why we would want to do team building? Or some things that you're kind of thinking about?
I think the processing piece is important. So anytime we do team building or group initiatives, we call it group initiative. So if we do a group initiative activity every Friday, and at the end of that we process what went well, what can we do better next time, how can we take what we did here in this fun activity and relate it to the classroom. And I think processing through the activity gives it more meaning and helps it last longer.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
I think it not only helps in the classroom, but in the future, they're going to be able to, go to work one day and be able to work with the team, be able to sit back when it's needed, be able to take over when it's needed. So I think it gives students that confidence, because in my class sometimes you see teams and you have those who don't want to participate, and if you kind of just walk them through how it's supposed to be, they'll gain that confidence. That's helpful in the future.
Other thoughts or ideas?
But to go with building relationships, one of the things that my homeroom has problems with is that kids don't get along, but they're in the same class. And they're learning that, okay, during this time, regardless of how I feel about this person, I have to get along and make adjustments, which is a big thing in the workplace. Because you're not going to work with people you all like.
Right. I think one of the things you can always stress with kids, and particularly a lot of times with junior high age kids, is the fact that I don't know, unless I would love to hear from you all, I don't know of a job in today's society where you get to work totally in isolation. Even if you're a virtual employee and you work from home, you're on Skype or you're on Google Chat. I mean, you're connecting with human beings, email, text, conference call. I mean, you're connecting with other human beings all the time. And so unless you work in isolation on some Mount Everest in Nepal and I don't know what you would do there, but even if you're connected on the internet, you're still connected to the world. So to your point, I think it's a vital skill for our kids to learn, and to learn it in a cooperative way, because that's what they're going to be asked to do at work. I mean, their boss is going to say, "Hey, I need you guys to work together as a team." And you know what? Your boss doesn't really care whether you get along or not. The project's got to get done. So you're right. Great life skill for them to be able to learn from this.
I always tell my kids that about that there's no job you cannot work by yourself. And then the other thing is they learn the strengths and weaknesses of each other, because you've got I don't want to work with them. I don't want to work with them. Oh really? Well, you have to do an illustration at the end. Who happens to be one of our best artists? He is. We do want him on the team. We do want him on. So when they see that there are different things that have to be done, and some people are better at different parts than, and that's what happens at work.
Right.
It's just in that life. Period.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Keep our teams. We have even smaller ones like table groups, and they travel together to the different subjects, so that kids who may have a strength in math can kind of be a support for that table group. But then maybe when they go to English, that one is maybe having a harder time. So then somebody else kind of steps up. So that by keeping them in the same group for the different subjects, they kind of have to look at strengths and challenges, and then we talk about, you guys know that teams form, and then storm is that, and then norm, and then perform.
Right.
And so whenever we switch groups, so we do that each quarter, we kind of go through those phases of group development, because you know, in the beginning, everyone's like, hey, it's our group, but then things start to wear on you. And if this one never has her pen, and I have lent her 50 pens, and I'm just like ready to lose it, you know, that's part of the storming. But then when you can get past that and say, okay, you know, she never has her pen, but she is always great about looking at the time and keeping our group on task. So here's the pen. And I'm gonna value, you know, what your contributions are, and then let's really capitalize on the strengths of each of the people in our group. And you know, just going through that process with them, I think really helps because, you know, as the weeks go by and they're into the storming phase, we have a vocabulary for that, and we can say, okay, and they'll say, I think we're storming, and here's what's going on. And I'm like, okay, so tell me more about the storming, and then they can tell me, and then we sort it out, and then they get past it, and then in the end, they are performing.
That's great.
That's the biggest thing, getting past it. I have never seen a group of kids that can hold on to something forever.
Right. Good. Thanks for sharing. That's great.
Great. So now that we've talked about the rationale of team building, we're going to talk about some team building activities tips. So these are the kinds of things that you want to make sure you do to make sure you have successful team building in your classes. These are in the team building guides, the GSN team building guides that you should have in front of you. But just to go and touch on them quickly, beginning with clear expectations. So while you're starting a team building activity, I would say to the students, you know, once we complete this activity successfully, you guys are going to know X about each other. Or once we successfully complete this team building activity, I'm going to make sure that you guys are doing really well in Mr. Shaver's math class. I'm keep going back to that. So knowing what the end goal is going to be for the kids, but also knowing what they can and can't do. So setting rules. So I always make sure that kids know that this is not a time for sarcasm. This is not a time for horseplay. This is not a time for cell phones to be out, etc. Whatever kind of rules and expectations and norms you want to have in your classroom, you want to make sure that they're taking it seriously and that they're bought into that activity. So always making sure that expectations are very clear. You want to close with a reflection, so making sure that you have time for kids to either talk to each other about it, or write about it, or maybe journal about it for homework, or get in pairs and have them reflect just one-on-one, or any type of reflection that you want to incorporate after the team building activity. You want to make sure it doesn't exist in isolation, so they know that they've either completed it successfully and they're going to be able to do the next task, or they have some areas in which they need to work on, whether that's with cooperation or joking around less, excuse me, etc. Making sure they have time to always reflect on that team building activity. And of course, you want to make sure that they're challenged. You want to make sure that the team building activity isn't something they already know how to do well. It's not something that they're going to find really easy. So it's something that's going to make them go right outside their comfort zone just a little bit and make that circle just wider and wider each time. So thinking about, now that you know your students, we're a couple months into the year, you should know what types of things are going to challenge them in this way. What makes them emotionally just a little bit uncomfortable. Not that we would ever want students to, feel threatened again or unsafe, but you want to make sure that they're challenged and that they're moving forward as social emotional learners. Anything else for tips? Okay, so with those tips in mind, let me see if I can remember them all as I explain this. We are going to be participating as a team, getting through this maze. So typically how this operates is this maze has a secret code inside of it, and only John and myself actually know the solution. Does anybody here watch New Girl? It's like my favorite show, of course. This game kind of reminds me of True American because obviously I think it goes without saying that the area around the circle is lava, so there's no stepping in the lava. I want to make sure that expectation is very clear or you're out. So the idea is that everybody gets through the maze from start to finish. So this is the starting square, and if I were teaching middle school, I'd probably label the starting square, and the ending square is in the opposite corner. So the idea is to step through the maze in the appropriate boxes until you get through the end. And if the person steps into the wrong square, there's going to be a beep or a buzzer, and that person has to go back to the beginning. Also, the idea is that each person gets through the maze. So how this would work in a room of 24 kids is that we would probably identify, I would probably split the group into half and have maybe a little competition, maybe one maze on one side, one maze on the other side. And you would have 2 students who would be the judges, explain the directions, and offer the beeps. But since we're a room of about 10 or so adults, we're going to all be on the same team, and John and I are going to be your judges and your beepers. And I do know, too, that a lot of you have been teaching today and you might be tired, so I think what might be best is if we start with a volunteer who wants to go first, and you guys can maybe help give directions from your seats, because the idea here is that you're going to remember the code. So there's a certain order in which you have to step through the boxes, and if you step in the wrong box, you have to go back to the beginning. So everybody as a group should help to remember what the solution is so that you can direct that person through the maze. Is that clear? Cool? Great, cool. We have a volunteer to go first.
All right.
So, is this one we're doing? Okay, cool. So go ahead and step. She's in the beginning square. So I guess go ahead and try and figure out what number 1 is. Beep. So back to the beginning. Oh, you get some in the lava. Oh man. I'm just kidding. Okay. Good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beep.
Wait. Okay. Wait. You stop there. Okay. Yeah. That's not.
Beep.
Beep.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I already went here.
No. Yeah.
Beep.
So now you got it.
Right here.
Go in front of you.
No.
Beep.
Hold on. Okay. So now go forward. That's the second one. Don't go to your.
Well,
Oh, we
now just because she already stepped in it doesn't mean it's not right for the future. It just means it's not number 2.
Oh wait, you can't change the rule.
Hmm?
Go right.
So walk.
This is 1. This is 2.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So now this is 3.
Go right again.
Beep.
Oh, did you guys get it?
Back to the end. Mm-hmm.
Diagonal. Forward.
Right.
To your right.
Right. Right again. Forward.
Beep.
Oh, I know.
Right twice.
Diagonal.
Diagonal.
Right.
Beep.
Ooh. Did she go the right?
No, she went
Forward. Right. Diagonal to your left. Diagonal to your
You
left.
right. Diagonal up to the right.
We don't have, so whichever way.
Yeah.
Beep.
Okay. So we know it's still diagonal to the left.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a really good job.
Right. Diagonal to the right. Forward.
And then you're just in the end square. Yep.
Awesome.
Good job. Oh, good job. Okay, now wait. Yep. The rest of the team has to get through it.
So does it change?
No, this is the
Okay.
same maze. You just have to get the rest of the team through it.
See if they can remember it.
Everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Diagonal to the right.
Good.
Okay, good job.
Okay, who's next? Yeah, this is the safe lava. It's hard.
This is the cool lava.
This is the cool lava.
Diagonal to your left, right. No, diagonal to your right.
Mm-hmm.
Forward.
Beep.
Diagonal to your right. Forward. To your right. To your right. Diagonal to your right.
Excellent.
Good job.
All
Woohoo.
right.
That's different when you get up here. It's like,
Good.
Good job. Great work.
Okay. We'll let you know.
To your right. Forward. To the right. To the right. Tango to the right.
Good. It's like a dance.
Okay. Diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
Forward. To the right. To the right. Tango to your right.
Excellent.
Beep.
Go back.
Beep. See, you thought you were flying going that
I
fast.
did.
Diagonal.
Now I
Forward.
forget. Okay.
To the right. To the right. Diagonal to the right.
Excellent. All right. Last team member. See if we can get her through. Excellent.
All right, good
Nice.
job, team.
All right.
All right.
Good job, you guys.
Good job.
Excellent. 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 Way to
Okay.
go.
Now, there just so happens to be a trick to this game. If I can find it.
Which one you looking for?
There. Here it is.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a variation to do with this game since you guys are so advanced. This time we're going to do a different puzzle, same rules but different solution to the game. And this time there can be no talking to get through everybody through the maze. So see if we can do it somehow. We'll do that. You can make noise,
Yeah. Just can't. You
but
can't
there's
talk.
no words.
Right.
So
Okay.
we'll do noises but no words.
All right.
We can't discuss what our noses would be.
Mm,
So we
No.
can't say.
I mean,
Do you ever like make a plan with your group? before you
Yeah.
start?
yeah, I think that's a great idea. Make a plan.
And who wants to go first? Think about who's going to be the first, the leader to go through this first. Cool.
So what's our plan?
So what's our plan?
Hmm?
So we have noises.
Okay.
So
So
what's
we can do
what do kids think? Like,
whatever you hide.
Which one do
You
you
know
want?
how you used to say hot and cold? Instead of saying hot and cold, you say.
Okay, hold on.
And
I'm
then
listening to it before we get started.
Burr and
So
yes,
it's
does
for
that
high.
here?
and burr.
So if she puts her, will she have to like put her foot over the top of it?
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
Because right.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning you could just put it
If we
wherever.
wanted to move backwards, we can make the beep 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 sound as we card.
Oh, that's good.
What?
Good thought.
Okay, so we have to reset.
What do we have for our forward?
What do we have for that?
I think this.
We'll just do hot cold.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You're going to need a cheat sheet. All right.
Or is it like a repertoire going forward?
What was
Beep, beep,
that?
backwards.
That's the only one I didn't get.
That's the one we haven't decided on yet.
How about
right
go
for
like this?
poles.
I'm gonna go way back.
Well, I like the idea.
Start right
I think
here.
it's simpler if we just do the idea of hot and cold.
Yeah, you see the hot cold.
And then she can like.
We could, well,
you
yeah.
know,
We do hot and cold and then you do your foot.
Wait, I just haven't changed.
Because otherwise it's easy to do something.
Alright, there we
Okay.
go. Now I can see.
Okay, so.
Wait, do we just?
We're just going
Are we
to
still
change.
coming up with our plan?
Yeah.
If we do the hot and cold and then somebody said
They
pepper.
can't, she can't
let's
sing.
go. So starting out.
They're being creative. Good thinking. Good thinking.
So the first time no one goes, so you can just do anything.
Well, there you go.
We only
Okay,
help
wait,
you to
so
remember.
once she
Oh,
starts
wait a
looking
second,
at
that's
so are
backwards.
you
Hold on.
clear about the directions?
No, but I
No,
figured
well
it out.
then, we're not ready. Let's
So
get clear.
basically, I think.
Okay, I know.
Let me know when you're ready.
Cold and-
It's hot. That's all we're gonna do,
That's
and then you're gonna
like,
hover your foot once we find out. and then
Okay,
we
beep beep is back up.
We're not.
Okay, see where we're at here.
Hot and cold.
Hot and cold.
This
So
one?
if you put your foot over something,
That
we
was
say
hard.
burr,
Oh,
don't
we
get
have
no
it.
step.
Yeah, this one's fine.
Well, we
Yeah,
Okay.
we put it there, we go.
Are we ready?
Remind you if you forget.
So I'm gonna get sent back the first time.
Yeah, you get some back. Oh, you get some back 10 times. But we're helping to remind you.
Is that correct?
Yeah, no problem.
Oh.
Beep.
You
All the way back to the beginning.
go back. Do I have to go back to it?
Yes. You go,
Oh, okay.
you go back to the start. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Beep.
All the way back to the beginning.
Just go right back to your start.
Now you're gonna have to start hoovering when you forget.
Yeah, but I forgot.
So when you're
Just put your foot up over it when you go.
We're talking.
Okay.
Well, we're talking.
Oh, whoops, thank you. Oh. Oh.
No, we don't know that one yet. Okay. Okay, now we know that.
Boo. I'll go first.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
I wish you could do something like this with math problems in it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When you saw that.
Room.
Oh, no.
Like being wrong so many times.
Oh, little frustration.
So unfair. You blocked out.
That's up to you.
You're getting close.
Yay.
Awesome. Well done. Well done.
All right, now we gotta get the rest of the team.
Wait a minute, you gotta stay up. You gotta stay up there. We gotta get the rest of your team up. But you can't talk to them now.
Okay.
You stay there at the finish. You're
Try
in
not to fall
the,
in
you're,
lava,
in the, you're in the
guys.
cold lava. Okay, who's next? Here we go. Well done. Well done. Well done. Nice.
I'll make sure.
Good job. All right. A few more. Good job. Excellent. All right. Nice. Okay. She's got her notes and everything here. All right. We get everybody through? Great job, everybody. Awesome.
Great job, team.
Awesome.
Good job.
I love the sound effects. That was great. I love that.
Obviously, sometimes you're in a room full of teachers when you're like, okay, let's come up with the plan first.
I like that. That was great.
That was great.
Yep.
So I think we're gonna do our second type of team building activity, and then debrief both activities at once. If that's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Great. So the next activity we're going to do, and it's in your packet, it's called imaginary volleyball. So who in here has played volleyball at some point in your life? Sand volleyball, beach volleyball, volleyball team, whatever, okay? So we kind of know how volleyball works, right? But this is a little different. This is imaginary volleyball. There is no volleyball, but you're going to imagine that you have a real volleyball, okay? And that you have a real volleyball net. Now, you know volleyball nets are pretty tall, right? Okay? They're like, I don't know the exact height, but I don't know.
Almost the ceiling.
Almost 6 feet.
Yeah, because people spike real tall. So, you think the top of the net is right there, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? So if I can have you, we're just going to go count 1, 2.
1, 2,
1,
1, 2.
Okay. If I can have the ones, you're going to be on this side of the net. Remember, we've got this huge net right here, okay? So the ones are here, the twos are on that side where Katie is, okay?
we can 2 at the front, 2 at the back.
They're already starting to strategize.
Do we have even teams? Oh, okay.
Tying our shoe, okay?
So
All right.
don't forget between.
Okay, big net right here, remember? Big net.
There, you gotta get between.
Big net right here, okay? Everybody remember? You're imagining, okay? Now, here's the expectations or the rules of imaginary volleyball, all right? First of all, you must hit the volleyball 3 times, okay, before it goes over the tall net, okay? The key is, tell me your first name.
Sandy.
Sandy. So Sandy's going to start as an example, and I'm on your team, and she's going to hit the volleyball to John, okay? All right? Now she has to call John's name out. If you don't call my name out, point to this team, okay? All right? So then John gets it. First name? Savannah. Then I say, okay, Savannah, I'm hitting it to you. Okay, all right? So then we've got to do that 3 times on this side, and then on the 4th, it goes to this side, okay? So we have to hit 3 times, then the 4th hit, it goes across the net. And we have to call out names each time.
Do we call the name of the person
Yes.
that gets 3?
Yes, so
Oh,
first
we gotta
name,
find the person.
first name, Christian.
But if we still miss their names, they get the point.
They get the point. That's exactly right, okay? All right, so 3 hits. 3 hits.
I just gotta know where
You better. Okay.
Christian.
All right.
Nick.
Okay. So everybody clear. So then when it comes over here, Nick, if it comes to you, then you're going to start the process 3 hits, and then on that 4th hit, you've got to call someone's name over.
Oh, let me take my name.
If you don't do that, then I see CPS badges turning around. Okay. So are we clear on expectations? All right. So 3 hits. Must call name out anytime. Katie, I need you as my second judge here.
Okay.
If we miss a name, the other team gets a point. Okay? Remember,
Third name on that side or the 4th name?
4th.
On that side?
You have to hit 3 on. So think about, we're going to debrief this, but yeah, 3 here. And Sandy, right? We'll let Sandy be the server on her team, and she's going to start the process. Are we all clear on what the expectations and the rules are? Okay, I'm going to step aside here. Katie?
Yeah.
We're not serving. We're sitting over here. Okay.
You're actually-
Savannah.
Elma.
Christian.
Nick.
Gene.
Debbie.
Tammy. Sandy.
Alma.
Nick.
How many?
1, 2, 3.
But then the 4th hit.
Sandy.
The 4th hit is when it goes across the net. You got to hit it 3 times.
3 over here.
Remember?
3 on
So
each
I
side.
would get 1,
One.
2, and then
3, and then the 4th hit is
so we have to
over.
go through all 4 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
She hit 1.
Yeah.
But if we make sure we
We gotta say it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No.
On the 4th time it goes over, so we have
No,
to
no,
say
just-
everybody's name.
So we want to make sure that we get 3 hits Then on the fourth hit is when it's going to go across the net to our
So that is confusing.
competition.
Let's see what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy
Okay.
hit one. Sandy.
Right.
And then she hit one, but she hit on three.
Yeah.
She
So
hit on three.
actually, Nick, if you hit it to Sandy, that's the fourth hit coming from you. Now you get it. The very first hit you're going to have is going to be to your teammate, and then it's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth.
So
Okay.
that doesn't count as a hit when you pass it.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Let's start over.
We clear? All right. So Sandy, we'll start with you again. Sandy's going to start the process. Everybody ready to go? Here we go.
Savannah.
Elma.
Debbie.
Oh, Jean.
Nick.
Kristen.
Tammy.
Sandy.
Alma.
Savannah.
Jean.
Christian.
Nick.
Kristen.
Ah.
Everyone.
Why? You can't do that?
You can't do that. You didn't say that.
No, you're right. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Good point.
But in volleyball, you can't hit it twice. Do I give it to
No.
Yes, you can. If
Put
somebody,
one in
I can
between
hit it to you, you can hit it back to
You
me.
ready?
Savannah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sandy.
Alma.
Jean.
Nick.
Debbie.
Christian.
Alma. Savannah.
Sammy.
Tammy.
Nick.
Kristen.
Jean.
Debbie.
Savannah.
Alma.
Sandy.
Nick.
Jean.
Christian.
Nick.
Alma.
Good save.
Savannah.
Sammy.
Debbie.
Christian.
Nick.
Debbie.
Alma.
Sandy.
Tammy.
Savannah.
Nick.
Jean.
Christian.
Debbie.
Tammy.
Sandy.
Alma.
Savannah.
Debbie. Christian.
Jean.
Nick.
Sandy.
Tammy.
Savannah.
Alma.
Christian.
Jean.
Nick.
Debbie.
Sandy.
Alma.
Savannah.
Sammy.
Kristen.
Jean.
Debbie.
Nick.
Savannah.
Christian.
Debbie.
All right. Nice job. Nice job. That's right. She just wanted to spike that ball. All right. Great. Let's kind of go back to our seats. Thanks. Good job, everybody.